Ayan. So dito na tayo class sa ating lesson sa bio. Ay, tika muna. Mag-screenshots muna pala ako. Para sa ating bio. Tika lang. Ayan. Saglit lang. Okay. Mag-attendance na kayo class sa ating chat box kasi kailangan niyo yun para meron kayong katunayan na pumasok kayo ngayon. Okay? Section muna tapos yung kompletong pangalan. So dito na tayo. Okay? So our lesson for this afternoon is all about cellular respiration. Mag-take down notes kayo class kasi mamaya magkakaroon tayo ng last online quiz ninyo sa chemistry at saka sa bio, no? Tapos mamaya kukunin ko yung scores nyo, no? Sa kanina. Kaya pakihanda na yung scores nyo. Tapos huwag din mo na akong dayain, syempre, ano? Pag ginaya nyo ako, di naman ako dinadaya yung sarili nyo lang. Okay? So dito na tayo. So our lesson for this morning is all about cellular respiration. In cellular respiration class, the purpose of this process is to produce ATP in our mitochondria. No? All right. So this is class the basic components class of ATP or adenosine, ribose, and phosphate. Ribose sugar and adenosine nitrogen base are the one of the components of, or should I say the components of ATP or adenosine diphosphate. All right. So we have here now class a short video clip about what is cellular respiration. So let us watch this one.
This bird, like all living animals, has cells that carry out cellular respiration. During cellular respiration, organisms break down nutrients in order to produce energy in the form of ATP. Let's take a closer look to see how this happens. If we zoom in on one of this bird's cells, we can see the mitochondria, where the majority of the reactions involved in cellular respiration occur. Let's zoom in further on a single mitochondrium. Cellular respiration consists of 4 primary stages. These are glycolysis, the preparatory reaction, the citric acid cycle, and the electron transport chain. First stage, glycolysis, occurs in the cytoplasm outside of the mitochondria. During glycolysis, enzymes break down glucose to 2 molecules of pyruvate. During this process, 2 ATP are produced, and NADH is released to be used in a later step of cellular respiration. Stage 2 is the preparatory reaction. During this stage, the pyruvates of glycolysis move into the mitochondria, where they are converted into acetyl-CoA. During this conversion process, more NADH is produced, and carbon dioxide is released. In stage 3, the citric acid cycle, the remaining carbons from the initial glucose are oxidized, releasing carbon dioxide. NADH and FADH2 are also produced, in addition to 2 ATP molecules. Most ATP production occurs in stage 4, the electron transport chain, or ETC. In this stage, the NADH and FADH2 from the previous stages give up electrons to the chain. Energy is released and captured as the electrons move from a higher energy to a lower energy state using a series of proteins embedded in the membranes of the mitochondria. Later, this energy will be used for the production of ATP, typically 32 to 34 per initial glucose. Oxygen is used by the ETC as a terminal electron acceptor. It then combines with hydrogen ions to produce water. We add up all the ATP produced from just one glucose molecule. We can see that these reactions produce a total of 36 to 38 ATP.
Okay, so that is what we call Cell respiration. Ay, nawala. Bakit nawala? Okay? So that is what we call class the cell respiration, no? And how you're going class, no? Your cell rather, to produce ATP. Nag-take down notes ba kayo para mamaya ratsyado lang kayo ng ratsyada sa pagsasagot right after you review your notes, no? Review your notes. Siyempre, di ko mo sinabing open notes. Dito na tayo. Based on the video that we have watched, sabi natin dito, ano, for every eukaryotic type of cell, pag sinabi natin class na eukaryotic, these are the cell that contains nucleus. Nagtataglay ng nucleus, katulad class ng mga cell ng hayop, halaman, at ng tao. Sabi natin dito sa tinatawag natin na eukaryotic type of cell, we have also class to familiarize and different terms that we are going class to know or to use, such as mitochondrion and mitochondria. When we say mitochondria, plural yan siya, no? Madaming mitochondrion. Kapag isa lang, mitochondrion singular. Pero most of the time, class, we use class the term mitochondria. Dahil nga naman class general kasi tayo kapag ina-address natin siya sa buong katawan natin. Dahil ang daming mitochondrion sa ating katawan. Kaya ginagamit natin mitochondria. Now, apart from that, sabi natin dito, ano? So this is class what we call compound formula for cellular respiration and photosynthesis. Formula for cellular respiration and photosynthesis. As you can observe, class, in cellular respiration, the reactants are glucose and oxygen, and the products, class, or the outputs are carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. Whereas pag photosynthesis naman, class, ang ating reactants, class, ay carbon dioxide, water, and yung kanyang product naman, class, ay glucose and oxygen for photosynthesis. Ano na-obserbahan nyo? Bernadette, ano na-obserbahan mo sa formula ng photosynthesis at cellular respiration? Asan na yun? Nandiyan ka ba, Bernadette? Narinig mo ba kami? Sige, balikan na lang natin. About si Adrian. Ano napapansin nyo, class, sa formula ng cellular respiration at saka photosynthesis? Anong napapansin nyo? Si Dayan. Dayan, pwede ka mag-type dyan sa ating chat box kapag may problema ka sa audio. I-type mo lang dito sa ating chat box. Anong napapansin nyo? Si Bernadette. Bernadette, nandiyan ka ba, Bernadette?
Sir, ano po yon?
Ayun. Anong napapansin mo sa pinagkaiba ng cellular respiration at photosynthesis?
Yun pong inputs and outputs po magkabaliktad. Tapos yung cellular respiration po, merong ATP po yung output.
Okay. So ayun, kumbaga napapansin natin na pinagkaiba. So meaning to say, pag sinabi natin, class, na cellular respiration, the glucose here is about to break apart, from glucose with the help of oxygen, it will be break apart into carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. Ngayon, in photosynthesis naman, class, the glucose here is being produced, binubuo. Kumbaga, pinoproduce natin siya. So magkaiba. Sa cellular respiration, class, the glucose is being break apart. Whereas for photosynthesis naman, class, the glucose is being produced. Ngayon, ang cellular respiration, class, ay nangyayari yung, class, sa halaman at saka sa hayop. Sa hayop, class, sabi natin dito, we break apart the glucose, but we cannot produce glucose. Kasi yun ang, kumbaga, limitasyon ng ating cell. That you cannot make or create your own glucose. Ang tawag natin dyan class ay tinatawag natin class na autotrophs rule, that you cannot make your own food by means of glucose. Kaya sabi natin dito, nagiging reactant natin class ang glucose kasi nga naman pumapasok siya class sa ating sistema, sa ating cell. Bakit siya pumapasok? Kasi nga naman class, kumakain tayo ng pagkain na mayroong carbohydrates. Okay? Yung carbohydrates class can be synthesized into sugar na tinatawag natin class na glucose. Okay? Yun, pag cellular respiration. Pag photosynthesis naman class, just like for the case class of plants, they are able class to produce glucose. No? They are able class to produce glucose out of carbon dioxide and water. Kaya ang mga halaman, sabi natin dito, kapag masyado tayo class maraming carbon dioxide sa hangin, yung pollution, no? Tuwang-tuwa yan sila kasi nagiging pagkain nila yan. Tapos tubig, kaya dinidiligan natin sila. And with that, sabi natin dito, when carbon dioxide and oxygen and water class reacts to each other, with the presence of light, nagkakaroon tayo class ng product ng carbon dioxide, glucose and oxygen. Para saan ang glucose at para saan ang oxygen? The glucose class, sabi natin dito, is very essential for them, no? For them class to grow and prosper or to develop. Therefore, sabi natin dito, from photosynthesis class, they need also class to break apart their produced glucose by having cellular respiration. Ibig sabihin, ang mga halaman, may dalawa silang kumbaga proseso. Meron silang photosynthesis to make glucose at meron din sila class cellular respiration to break apart the glucose for their growth and development. And one of the thing that we can be so thankful for them is that they release oxygen for us humans and animals. Diba, imagine mo ang isang lugar kapag walang oxygen. Paano ka makahinga? How would you be able to breathe without vegetation? Kaya napakahalaga class na yung tinatawag natin class na oxygen as the byproduct class during photosynthesis reaction. Makukuha niyo yung kahalagahan niya. Next, sabi natin dito, for cellular respiration, sabi natin dito sa mga hayop. Kapag hindi ka kakain, kasi inputs siyempre pag sinabi natin inputs, ilalagay natin sa ating sistema. Pag hindi ka kakain class ng pagkain na mayroong glucose, na mayroong carbohydrates, na nasi-synthesize into glucose, tapos wala ring oxygen class sa ating paligid, do you think makakaroon din ng ATP, water, and carbon dioxide? Hindi. No? Kasi sabi natin dito, ang glucose class and oxygen are the two prerequisite class to have cellular respiration to every animals. So, sabi natin dito, to have a product of carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. Sir, bakit nagkakaroon ng carbon dioxide, water, and ATP during cellular respiration? Mamaya malalaman nyo kung bakit. Okay? Kaya sabi natin dito sa ating next slide, the glucose class, sabi natin dito, is being made to the process of photosynthesis sa mga halaman. Katulong class ang araw. Ngayon, sa mga hayop naman class, sabi natin dito, under cellular respiration, it breaks the glucose apart to different molecules for our growth and development and of course class for our source of energy. Ngayon, sabi natin dito, na-mention na sa inyo, na ang mga halaman class ay meron din silang dalawang proseso. Pwede sila class magkaroon ng tinatawag natin na photosynthesis, magkasabay, at saka cellular respiration. Kasi sabi natin dito, kagaya ng sabi ko sa inyo kanina, they need to have what we call photosynthesis reaction, para magkaroon ng sugar or sinasabi natin class na glucose. And then this glucose class will be used to the different part of the plants. Ibig sabihin, niya class ang glucose na yan, i-break apart na yan. The breaking part class of glucose ay ang tawag natin cellular respiration. Kaya sa halaman, dalawa. Photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Pero sa tao, isa lang. Tsaka sa animals, cellular respiration lang. Okay? Kasi sabi natin dito, bakit? Kasi meron tayong tinatawag class na autotrophs rule, kung saan you can make your own food. You can't make your own food. Kasi that is class the limitations class of our cell as an individual or as a human or as an animal. Okay? Now, let us now class take for the case of 1-glucose. This 1-glucose particle class will about us to undergo the first process of cellular respiration, yung tinatawag nating class na glycolysis. In glycolysis class, NADH released and 2 ATP gained. Here in glycolysis class, the glucose will get inside into the what we call cytoplasm. Papasok sa class sa ating cytoplasm. And this process class, yung tinatawag natin na glycolysis, it doesn't need oxygen. Hindi niya kailangan class ng oxygen. So therefore, this process class is also called as anaerobic cellular respiration. Okay? Anaerobic cellular respiration, wherein you are not using oxygen. Okay? Then, apart from that, in the glycolysis process, sabi natin dito, the glucose will now be apart, or should I say, be divided into two particular molecule na tinatawag natin class na pyruvate. No, ayan na. Nagkakaroon na tinatawag natin class na breaking apart the glucose. From glucose, upon entering class into the vertical cytoplasm, they are now divided class into two particular molecule na tinatawag natin class na pyruvate. Then after that one, sabi natin dito, when the glucose enters in the cytoplasm, it releases class what? NADH. And sabi natin dito, it gained 2 molecules class of ATP. Ang NADH daw class, ang ibig sabihin niyan ay dicotanamide adenine dinucleotide. Or tinatawag din sa class as B3 or niacin. Sabi natin dito, it converts food into energy. It also class good for our digestion, and it is also class good for our skin. Ang NADH class is a kind of enzyme that carries electron. Nagdadala siya ng electron. Ayan, no? Ang NADH class is a kind of enzyme that carries electron. Next process naman class, yung tinatawag natin class na intermediate step. Okay? Kanina, sa pinanood nating video, ang intermediate step class ay tinatawag yung class as preparatory reaction. In the preparatory reaction class, sabi natin dito, the pyruvic class, from cytoplasm, they will now class enter into the what we call mitochondrial matrix. Okay? And then sabi natin dito, upon entering class into the mitochondrial matrix from cytoplasm, they are about to generate more NADH, and the carbon here, sabi natin dito, will now become oxidized. Kapag ang carbon class ay na-oxidized, it creates, or should I say, it releases carbon dioxide. Kaya kanina sa formula natin class for cellular respiration, ang ating product ay carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. So ayan, so meron na tayong kumbaga answer kung bakit sa ating product mayroong carbon dioxide. Kasi sabi natin dito, in the what we call preparatory reaction, o yung tinatawag natin class na intermediate steps, the carbon class inside of the mitochondrial matrix is being oxidized that releases class carbon dioxide. And then sabi natin dito, when it releases class carbon dioxide, it also class have more molecule class of NADH or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Mga term ang lalalim. Next, sabi natin dito, we are still class in the inside of our mitochondrial matrix. Now, sabi natin dito, in this process, once again, into the mitochondria, the pyruvate now class will now be converted class into 2 molecule of acetyl-CoA. 2 molecule class of acetyl-CoA and additional 2 molecule class of NADH or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. And of course, class the carbon once again here is being oxidized and it releases carbon dioxide. From glucose, tinawag siya na pyruvate pagpasok ng cytoplasm. Ngayon, pagpasok naman niya class sa ating mitochondrial matrix, na-convert naman sa class into 2 molecule of acetyl-CoA. No? Huwag niyong kakalimutan, nagbabago-bago ng pangalan niyan siya. Depende sa lokasyon. Next is the what we call Krebs cycle. Ngayon, sa Krebs cycle class, it is also class part of the cellular respiration wherein tinatawag din siya class as citric acid cycle. In citric acid cycle class, no, the acetyl CoA is about to enter, and for output class, we have another set of 2 molecule of ATP and 6 molecule class of NADH additional molecules and new enzymes na tinatawag nating class na FADH. Okay? Ang ibig sabihin class ng FADH ay flavin adenine dinucleotide. It is also class an enzyme that carries electron, just like class for the case of function of NADH. Ang flavin adenine dinucleotide class ay tinatawag din sa class as B2 or riboflavin. This B2 class or riboflavin helps to break down carbohydrates, protein, fats to produce energy. Okay, huwag niyong kakalimutan. Next, sabi natin dito, the FADH class or flavin adenine dinucleotides and nicotinamide adenine dinucleotides class have a very special function. Kasi sabi natin dito, without electron class, you will not be able class to attract the what we call proton gradient to move out from the what we call mitochondrial matrix. So therefore, kapag walang FADH at saka NADH, paano magkakaroon ng flow of electron that attracts the proton gradient to have ATP? Kaya napakahalaga ng ginagampanan nila. Ang position nila class, sabi natin dito, mamaya malalaman nyo kung ano yung position nila. So right after class of Krebs cycle, we have the electron transport chain. In electron transport chain, sabi natin dito, magkakaroon na tayo ng class ng paglipat ng mga electron. Sabi natin dito, this process class is still inside class in the mitochondrial matrix. And there, in this process, we need now the help of oxygen. Kaya tinawag na siya class as aerobic cellular respiration. Okay? Aerobic na siya. Kanina anaerobic kasi sabi natin dito hindi tayo gagamit ng oxygen. But in the electron transport chain, sabi natin dito, we are about class to use oxygen. O, ayan, may oxygen na. So, meron na tayo class 1 of the ingredients class ng having water. Kasi kanina meron na tayong carbon dioxide. Ngayon naman kulang pa tayo ng tubig. So meron na tayong oxygen. Okay? Next is this is the what we call position of the NADH at FADH. The NADH class or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotides class will about class to pass electron to flavin adenine dinucleotides. And there, the electron class will travel from here to there. No? Para siyang cycle. Ngayon, sabi natin dito, since, meron tayong tinatawag natin na cellular membrane, na ang mga particle class ay sinasala at hindi class nakakapasok agad-agad. Papasok tayo class ng tinatawag natin na ATP synthase. Ang ATP synthase class is the counterpart of what we call protein channel. Yung nakaraang lesson natin tungkol class na sinasabi natin na cellular membrane. Dito gagamit tayo ng tinatawag natin na ATP synthase para makapasok class ang hydrogen positive ion charge o tinatawag din natin sa class as proton gradient para makapasok sa dyan. Ngayon, sabi natin dito, sa pinakababa class ng tinatawag natin na ATP synthase, sa baba nito, nandiyan class ang molecule na tinatawag natin class na alin? Adenosine diphosphate. Pag sinabi natin class na adenosine diphosphate, hindi pa siya talaga totally class active, giver of energy inside of our mitochondria. Kailangan niya pa class ng isa pang molecule, Kaya ngayon, ang gagawing class ng tinatawag natin na ATP synthase dahil pinapapasok niya class ang proton gradient, ididikit niya ngayong class na tinatawag natin na adenosine diphosphate para maging tatlo na class yung kanyang phosphate. At tatawagin natin yung siya class as adenosine triphosphate. Imagine mo, importante na ginagampanan ng tinatawag natin na ATP synthase. synthesis. Then without ATP synthesis situating class in our cellular membrane, the proton gradient class will not be able to pass through. So therefore, class, we cannot create water and at the same time class ATP or adenosine triphosphate. But having said with that, sabi natin dito, this is how actually it works. When the NADH or sabi natin class na nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide pass electron to flavin adenine dinucleotide, gagamit tayo class ang tinatawag natin class na electron carrier. There in the electron carrier class, it is also class being helped with what we call protein complex. No? So ayan, magta-travel down class ang ating electron. Yan, no? Magta-travel ang ating electron. Ngayon, as the electron travel in the protein complex, what will happen class to the what we call positive hydrogen ion charge na tinatawag natin class na proton gradient? They are what? Being induced. Ibig sabihin ng induced na attract sila class sa electron dahil positive and negative attraction yan, di ba? Na-attract sila. Kaya ang nangyayari sa mga proton natin class ay hydrogen, ang hydrogen ion, ang proton gradient natin na hydrogen positive ion charge na-attract and they move out. Lalabas sila class gamit yung tinatawag natin class na protein complex, no? At the middle, lalabas sila dyan. Then, maiipon sila class sa tinatawag natin na high concentrated area, no? O tinatawag natin na mitochondrial membrane dito siya maiipon. And then, syempre, sa tinatawag natin class na high concentrated area, hindi ba may mga pumapasok na particle. So, ganun din, papasok din class ang proton gradient natin. Kaya siya tinawag na proton gradient class kasi ang ion charge niya ay positive. Di ba ang charge ng proton ay positive? Kaya siya tinawag na proton gradient. Ngayon papasok sa dyan. Pagpasok niya, sabi natin dito, katulong class ang tinatawag natin class na ATP synthesis. Didikit ngayong class, yung proton gradient sa tinatawag natin na adenosine diphosphate para tawagin na siya class as adenosine triphosphate. Ngayon, dahil ang electron transport chain ay kinakailangan ng oxygen, di ba ang oxygen class is a negative type of ion? To make it stable class, sabi natin dito, it has to have two positive ion charge na hydrogen. Kapag dumikit class ang dalawang positive ion charge na yan sa oxygen, nagkakaroon tayo ngayong class ng tubig or ng water. Okay, nakukuha niyo class kung paano tayo nagkakaroon class ng ATP and water. Kaya kung babalikan natin class, yung tinatawag natin na formula for cellular respiration is this one. Asan ka naman, Nash? Ay ito. No? Out of glucose with the help plus of oxygen, we are able class to produce carbon dioxide. Kasi sabi natin dito sa ano pa lang class, sa preparatory reaction pa lang, yung tinatawag natin class na citric acid cycle, nagre-release na siya class ang tinatawag natin na carbon dioxide. Bakit? Kasi nga naman class in that process, the carbon class is being oxidized. Nagre-release siya ng carbon dioxide, kaya meron tayong carbon dioxide, pinatay dyan. And then, bakit nagkaroon ng tubig? Alam nyo na kung bakit. Kasi sabi natin dito, in the process class of electron transport chain, pumapasok class dyan yung mga hydrogen, and this process class requires oxygen. Okay? Kaya sabi natin dito na attract siya kay oxygen, kaya nakakaroon tayo ng tubig. And sabi natin dito, since the proton gradient class pass through in the ATP synthesis, and just beneath of the ATP synthesis class, nandun yung tinatawag natin class na molecule na adenosine diphosphate. Pag dinikitan siya ngayong class ang tinatawag natin na one molecule of proton gradient, nagiging tatlo na yun. Magiging ano na siya, adenosine triphosphate. Kaya meron tayong ATP dyan. Okay? So, kaya sabi natin dito, out of glucose and oxygen, they are now able class to produce carbon dioxide, water, and ATP in the process of cellular respiration. Okay? Ngayon, sir, ano naman ang photosynthesis? Next meeting na lang, napapagod na ako. Next meeting natin siya i-discuss. Kasi ang photosynthesis class, meron tayong tinatawag na light-dependent reaction at saka light-independent reaction. Na dalawa yan. Next meeting na natin siya at ako hinihingal na. Sa ngayon, mag-review kayo kasi magkakaroon tayo ng online quiz. Last nyo na class na online quiz. At Namaya magbibigay ako ng additional points and accepted sa ating prelim exam sa darating na midterm. Okay? Ang swerte nyo, hindi na kayo mag-i-exam. Pumasok lang kayo, nagkaroon pa kayo ng buenas. Okay? So around, yan. So mga around 1:45, we will proceed class to your online quiz. So review your notes. And at exactly 1:45, we will conduct class our last online quiz. Okay? Review muna. Okay. So are you ready na? Let's start na. Ready na ba kayo Dayan, Bernadette, saka Adrian mag-quiz? Ready na po ba kayo? Nakapag-review na ba? Hindi pa ba? Parang ayaw nyo. So ayan. Bernadette, ready na ba? Bernadette? Si Dayan at saka si Adrian, ready na ba kayo?
Yes po, sir.
Ayun. Yes daw. Sige, magsimula na tayo. Yeah. Okay, so you have 10 minutes and good luck.